Hey, what's up, amazing hackers? Somehow I've ended up in San Francisco. This is freaking strange, but you guys asked me, hey, Uncle Red, how do I go about picking my first bug bounty target? That is a really good question. So Uncle Red is here to talk about that, shall we? The first thing we need to talk about is that picking your target is super, super important, guys. If you don't pick the right target, you're going to run into a lot of frustration and it's not going to help you. You are not going to get better out of that. So please do take your time to pick the right target. It is super important. I can't stress this enough. Now, when you go about picking your target, you're going to go onto your bug bounty platform. You're going to go into the one that you prefer. I don't know which one it is. It doesn't really matter, but you can go on any bug bounty platform and you're going to find a host of different programs, a host of different targets to hack, and you're going to be overwhelmed. It's as simple as that, especially if it's your first time. There's just too much to pick from. Well, guys, let's talk about a few key points that you have to remember and that you have to think about while picking that crucial first target, shall we? Now, the first thing that you really have to remember when picking your target is that, say you're looking at that list, just take it easy. Go through each and every single target and judge that target in its own right. Think about how you would hack it. Like, okay, that's a newspaper. How would I hack a newspaper? That's a web shop. How would I hack a web shop? And think about all of the potential attack possibilities that you have. List them inside of your head and go through that whole list. Now, if you've went through that whole list, you're going to have a pretty good idea of what functionality is available for what target. Now it's up to you to pick the one with the most functionality, with the most things that you can hack, because guys, in bug bounties, it's all about quantity. And this might sound a little bit strange, but it don't mean it's all about finding as much low-hanging fruit as possible. No, I'm talking about testing every single possible thing you can think of. It's about quantity of your test cases. You have to test every single parameter. You have to test every single functionality. And the more functions you find, the better it is for you, because the more there is going to be to test. Now, the second thing to remember, if you're looking at your targets, there are going to be some things to avoid. Definitely avoid, in my opinion, newspapers. They don't have a lot of functionality. Definitely avoid web shops in the beginning. They don't have a lot of functionality either, and you're going to have to invest money to actually test it properly, because of course you also want to test for IDORs on returning items, on buying items, on invoices, and all of that stuff. So very important. I wouldn't touch web shops in the beginning. These are all in the beginning, by the way. If you're a little bit more experienced, you can definitely go for those. What else do we have? So you're looking around business to business applications. Ooh, that should ring a bell. Let's go for business to business applications, because those have a lot of functionality again. That's the thing that we are looking for in our target. All of that functionality is going to matter because we want to test as much as possible. So pick your right target. Now, all of that said and done, then we are going to move on. Let's think about the next type of target that we can encounter. We're talking about a bank. Banks usually have a high bug bounty award that they give. That's going to be something that you want to avoid in the beginning. I would avoid any paying program, but especially the ones that give very high bug bounties, because guess what? They don't give out free money. That thing is going to be secure like a bank vault. You can be pretty sure of that. Now, it doesn't mean that there aren't going to be any vulnerabilities. That means that it's usually going to be very encrypted, very hard to get into traffic. So you're going to have that extra layer of security that you're going to have to get past. Very important. That's why I would avoid banks in the beginning. Any high paying thing, anything that is related to security, that talks about security, I would definitely avoid them, because they're going to be a little bit more hardened than the other targets. Now, if we're talking about a city hall or something where you think there's going to be a system administrator that is not as adept in IT as us, then that's going to be a good target, especially if it's a vulnerability disclosure program, because that means there are going to be a lot less hackers on there for us to hack against. If we look at a blockchain program, I wouldn't touch it in the beginning. it's going to be pretty secure. Blockchain hacking is an art in and of itself. And to hack something, you need to know it properly. So you will need to know the blockchain properly before you start hacking on it. Very important. What else would I avoid? I would definitely avoid mobile applications at the beginning. It may sound counterintuitive, but mobile applications add a layer of complexity. Now, if you're comfortable with that layer of complexity, I would definitely go for it, but I would not go too deep into it. By the way, I have a free bug bounty course on Android in the description below if you guys want that. Now, what else would I avoid? I would avoid desktop applications. Desktop applications, again, they're going to require you to traffic your complete system through burp. Then you're going to have to set your scope really, really well, or you're going to run into memory issues. So I would avoid them in the beginning. Now, I would also avoid IoT devices unless you actually have them, because again, you're going to have to invest money into it. Now, if you're testing and you see a website which you actually use, for example, I order my medication online on New Pharma. That's a website that's on integrity. It's public. So definitely something that I'm hacking on. You can be sure of that. What else can we do if we find, for example, what I really, really like is those business to business applications that give you accounts on different levels. So if you get an administrator, an employee, a driver, there are going to be different levels. Then that's super, super interesting because it's definitely going to allow for broken access control. And the last thing I would definitely like to have in my target is when my target actually has multiple tenants on the same server. So if I make an account and you make an account, we are basically connecting to the same URL and we are using the same servers. That's going to allow for IDORs between our accounts, and those are usually more impactful than IDORs within the same account. If I have an account and I have 2 email addresses in that account, 2 users, then I can also test for IDORs, but that's going to be less impactful, of course, because I added that account. That person is going to be in a trusted position. Now, that's a lot of information. I hope you guys found that useful because picking a target is not easy. The last thing I want to leave you guys with is spend some time on your target. If you find something that irks you the wrong way, if you don't like something about your target, then move on to the next one. I promise you there is not a shortage of free public programs available. Just look at the HackerOne directory, look at the BugCrowd directory, and look at the Integrity public programs. There is more than enough to pick from. Hack into it. Look if you're feeling comfortable, and if you are feeling comfortable, because that's very important, you should feel a little bit comfortable with your target. For example, I am pretty decent with PHP. I've been writing PHP for a while now. And if a target uses PHP, then I'm definitely more comfortable with that target. I'm going to be more inclined to actually go and hack on that target. So that was my information for you guys. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you found it useful. If you have any information or tips on picking a target, leave it down in the comments below because I always want to hear what you guys have to say. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye, amazing hacker.